The Russian military is attempting to generate sufficient combat power to seize and hold the portions of Donetsk and Luhansk oblasts that it does not currently control after it completes the seizure of Mariupol. There are good reasons to question the Russian armed forces' ability to do so and their ability to use regenerated combat power effectively despite a reported simplification of the Russian command structure. The Russian military will struggle to amass a large and combat-capable force of mechanized units to operate in Donbas within the next few months. Russia will likely continue to throw badly damaged and partially reconstituted units piecemeal into offensive operations that make limited gains at great cost. The Russians likely will make gains nevertheless and may either trap or wear down Ukrainian forces enough to secure much of Donetsk and Luhansk oblasts, but it is at least equally likely that these Russian offensives will culminate before reaching their objectives, as similar Russian operations have done. The U.S. Department of Defense reported on April 8 that the Russian armed forces have lost 15 to 20% of the combat power they had arrayed against Ukraine before the invasion. This statement is somewhat, unintentionally, misleading because it uses the phrase combat power loosely. The US DoD statements about Russian combat power appear to refer to the percentage of troops mobilized for the invasion that are still in principle available for fighting, that is, that are still alive, not badly injured, and with their units. But combat power means much more than that. U.S. Army doctrine defines combat power as the total means of destructive, constructive, and information capabilities that a military unit or formation can apply at a given time. This doctrinal definition obviously encompasses much more than the total number of troops physically present with units and is one of the keys to understanding why Russian forces have performed so poorly in this war despite their large numerical advantage. It is also the key to understanding the evolving next phase of the war. The dozens of Russian battalion tactical groups that retreated from around Kyiv likely possess combat power that is a fraction of what the numbers of units or total numbers of personnel with those units would suggest. Russian units that have fought in Ukraine have taken fearful damage. We've seen indications of some units that are literally, for all intents and purposes, eradicated. There's just nothing left of the BTG except a handful of troops and maybe a small number of vehicles, and they're going to have to be reconstituted or reapplied to others. Units with such levels of losses are combat ineffective, they have essentially zero combat power. Reconstituting these units to restore any notable fraction of their nominal power would take months. The Russian military would have to incorporate new soldiers bringing the units back up toward full strength and then allow those soldiers time to integrate into the units. Russian forces withdrawn from around Kyiv and going back to fight in Donbas in the next few weeks, therefore, will not have been reconstituted. The Russian armed forces likely have few or no full-strength units in reserve to deploy to fight in Ukraine because of a flawed mobilization scheme that cannot be fixed in the course of a short war. Morale is a key element of combat power, and consistent reports indicate that the morale even of elite Russian units remains very low. A Russian telegram channel reporting on Pskov, the home of the elite 76th Guards Airborne Division, noted on April 7 that a growing number of paratroopers are refusing to fight. Elite Russian Spetsnaz unit that had fought in Syria refused to continue fighting in Mariupol after suffering 30 casualties between April 2 and April 4. The Russians are apparently attempting to resolve one of the problems from which their initial invasion suffered by making Southern Military District Commander General Alexander Dvornikov the single overall commander of operations in Ukraine. The lack of a single overall commander clearly hindered the cooperation of Russian forces operating along various invasion axes. The designation of Dvornikov as the overall commander makes sense now given that the announced Russian main efforts are almost all in his area of responsibility. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.